So Wales go down 18-27 to the mighty Irish, but if there was ever a time to feel content with a loss, I think this is the one. Night and day from what we've seen in the previous two games in the Six Nations, and hopefully a sign of a fresh beginning and better things to come in the future. My name's Christian, and this is the Welsh Sports Channel. So, how do we feel after that? I mean, we still lost, and lost, fairly comfortably on the score sheet, which I think flatters Ireland a little bit. 18-27 was the final score. They just pulled away from us at the end, but what a much better performance from Wales. You could just tell the first 5-10 minutes that there was a lot more creativity, a bit more confidence. We're actually trying stuff and going through phases. Ireland were sort of not at their best, probably you'd say, especially in that first half, but Wales really competed for everything and put them under a lot of pressure, and you could see they were a little bit rattled at times as well, particularly once they scored the second try, the Tom Rogers try. Then you could see they started really getting not desperate, but they were under pressure, and who would have expected us to put them in that position? People in the comments were saying if we keep it within a couple of scores, that's a great result, and other people were saying we're still going to get lumped by 30-40 points, but it was a really good performance. I really thoroughly enjoyed that game, and I'm a really sore loser. So after, what's been in the last really year, especially from the autumn, this was so much better and so much more exciting and great to see. And the players that came in really made a difference. And you have to say Matt Sherratt and the coaches he's brought in clearly made a massive difference. Anyone who was, saying that Warren Gatland wasn't the problem, I mean, that performance kind of puts a little bit of a dent in that argument. The scrum was really impressive, particularly in the first half. Wilgriff John really justified his selection, and to be fair, the change of the front row was a real shock. I said in my preview that was the biggest shock to me, the three changes, but I mean all three of them really justified their selections. The line out was good from Nicky Smith, and the scrum was good, and Wilgriff John, once he got into the game, started putting it about a bit as well, which was good, and he can be really happy. It was a left field selection by Gatland, you have to say, but then for him he probably wouldn't have even got a chance if Azarati was fit, you would imagine, I don't know, but he was excellent, Wilgriff John, and really happy for him, and hopefully they carry on next week with the same thing. A lot of scrum penalties, probably the most we've won for over a year, and we had him in a bit of issues on that front. Like I said, the lineup was pretty good variation. All of the jumpers were pretty solid as well. The darts were good from Elliot D. Ireland didn't really cause us that many troubles at line-out time, even when they were competing. Generally, we beat them at the jump, which was really good. And I think that's the benefit of D. His throw-in is just excellent. But well done to the other jumpers. I think we still got battered at the breakdown. Even with the 2-7s, I don't think we got one scrum penalty. The only time I think Jack managed to get a turnover was on an Ireland advantage in the second half. The tackling and defence was excellent from the 2-7s, as they always are, but they couldn't really slow Ireland's ball down, and that's because Ireland was just so strong and dominant in the tackle. With all the variety they throw at the line, it was hard for us to get off the line and make a dominant hit, and that's what just helped their speed of ball be so fast and made it really difficult for the 2-7s to get in there and slow things down. You'd probably have to say maybe that selection didn't necessarily work as he expected, but for the tackles that they went through, they really put in a shift, the both of them. And Faletau was just, that guy, he's just so good. He's just so good at everything. Yeah, Wales just kept fighting. Ireland were making a fair few mistakes in that first half. A lot of down balls, which is uncharacteristic. Then you had the Ringrose yellow card, which at halftime got changed to a red, which I think was the right one. The old 20-minute red. Gotta be honest, I liked it when the idea came in, but I'm not that keen on it now. But I don't know. Not that I think I wanted to see Ringrose, get red carded or anything. But I don't know if the 20-minute red is the right way to fix these issues. But Anyway, half time, I mean, bringing on Bundyaki is like, you're not losing an awful lot, do you? Let's be fair. Then, just before half time, we got the score. It was a lot of build up, and it took us a while to really do anything. You have to say it was an excellent kick from Anscombe from the penalty to put us right in the corner. And then we had a few goes, and Ireland gave away another penalty, which we put in the corner again. And then it was a lot of pick and goes. It went through a lot of phases, but eventually Jack Morgan burrows his way over the line. Anyone who says Jack Morgan is not big enough to play back row at the international level, I'm sorry, you just need your head examined. Just because he's not the biggest man, he chucks it about and he slams people, and he's so strong when he carries. Yeah, I don't get that. I really don't get that argument. And then the second half came, and then Wales kicked in. I mean, whatever Jockey said at halftime really sort of brought them out with a bit more confidence. They already had probably scoring going into the half, knew that they could damage Ireland, like when Rocky cuts Ivan Drago, and he knew you could hurt him and give him that boost of confidence. And then we scored that excellent try. It was a good bit of pressure, and I think Rowlands had a guess a loose ball somehow, I can't remember how, and he goes on a bit of a run, carries a few bodies with him, gets a good 10 metres, gets us on the front foot. We go through phases, create stuff, an excellent bit of play from Blair Murray, who uses the dummy runner excellently, and puts Tommy Rogers in a bit of space. Still had quite a fair bit to do with Lowe coming across, but it was an excellent finish. High dive, legs in the air, and a great finish in the corner, and that was his first international try, so probably meant a lot to him. Yeah, and then I'll be honest, I dared to believe at that point. I was starting to think, Jesus, like, we could actually win this game. But you always expected Ireland to come back in. There's such a quality outfit, so much depth. And once they started really like cluing in, they began to turn the screw a little bit. The subs started coming off the bench. And I think probably on the balance of it, particularly in that second half, the subs really made a big difference for Ireland. You had a lot of experience and a lot of quality coming off their bench. And I'm not saying we didn't have experience or quality coming off our bench, but it was just they had a different impact into it. And then Prendergast pushed that excellent 50-22 and just dipped over, I think it was Jared Evans' head. And then from the ensuing line out, eventually they score, which was, I mean, it all came from that excellent kick from Prendergast, who put in some excellent kicks and had a pretty good all-round performances. Then it was back and forth, but we were still competing. We were throwing punches, and we looked like we still were causing Ireland trouble. It was back and forth, but Ireland just kept their extra bits of quality when they needed it were there. Whereas for Wales, it was just that little, sometimes the last pass, after a few phases, sometimes they would break down, whereas Ireland were just like the well-oiled machine they were. And then Prendergast just basically kicked us to death from that point. And that's really what made the score look more convincing than it actually was. Nothing away from Ireland. Winning the Triple Crown, Gibson Park was just on another planet, the best player on the pitch by a stretch. But Ireland just all around, they were just really good. Ellis-Mee, the try not try was really, really touch and go. A few of the times I looked at it and I thought he scored there, and then there was a one or two where you could see that maybe he just knocked it on just short of the line, and that's disappointing because I thought he was pretty good on the night. So all around, it was a really good performance from Wales. I'm really chuffed for the boys. I just watched before I come up an interview from Max Llewellyn, and he was saying that they basically only had 3 full sessions with Matt Sherratt as a full team, where they've been managing to go through all of the run-throughs. And he was like, that's just us off 3 sessions. Let's, wait till we get like another few weeks in us, which, they'll get more time together now. You'll have more time to instill what we've already seen is taking him next to no time to put in some sort of attacking flair and structure and some confidence in the boys. And they'll go into this Scotland game now feeling really like they can do something. Going into that England game, who knows, we might dare to believe. But I go through the position groups like I like to do at the end of these videos. The starting front row was excellent, as I touched on. Scrum was brilliant. They were good around the park, and when they went off and the substitute front row came on, you could see there was a bit of a drop off. And now it was a bold decision from Sherratt, and that certainly paid off. And well done to Adam Jones and the other forwards coaches, because they looked a night and day at scrum time. The second rows, Will Rowlands, that's the best game we've seen from him for ages, at least all year. He looked a lot more hungry with his carries. He was more noticeable around the pitch. Like I said, a couple of times he was on loose balls. His line out was good. Dav Jenkins was superb defensively, tackling everything. Ruck time, he was just causing havoc. He just gives little niggles and stuff. He's got that like Alan Wynne-Jones about him, where it's like dark arts, and I like that. We need a bit more of that. The back row was good. Struggled at the breakdown, as I mentioned, with the 2-7s. Rafael did a lot of tackling. Didn't really get a chance to have much ball in hand. Jack Morgan, in the couple of carries he had, were generally pretty good. Had a couple of good tackles as well. But just the breakdown was where we got beat. Falatau just did everything right, as he always does. He was excellent at line out. Worked his socks off. It's crazy that he hasn't really played much rugby, because he doesn't look it. He's so good. Thomas Williams had a much better game than what we've seen. We're actually going forward, so it was good. He had a couple of mistakes, a couple of knock-ons, which he usually would have expected him to keep hold of, but not a bad afternoon for him. Gareth Anscombe was really good, controlled the game, put us in the right positions, created opportunities, gave the right passes, justified his selection massively. Another player who justified his selection was Max Llewellyn at 13. His centre partnership with Ben Thomas, especially the more the game went on, Ben looked shaky the first 30, but he got better and better as the game went on. Excuse me. And the same goes for Llewellyn. Llewellyn getting over the game line a lot of talk from Gatland that he was not getting enough touches. Well, he got plenty of touches in this game, and he was getting over the game line. They were bringing him on some good angles. So really another one who justified his selection, and just pickles why he wasn't in the team already. And then the two wingers had two good afternoons. Tom Rogers got his first try. I had a couple of chances when he got there was a decent kick and he got under it, especially in that first half. I remember one clearly. He's just performing better and better as he gets more and more experience, looking more comfortable, and maybe just knowing that he deserves to be there. And he also almost had a jackal turnover, which won a penalty for us because he got neck rolled. Ellis Mee on his debut, he looked a little bit shaky at first, naturally. He looked so young, but definitely grew into the game. And when we got to see him get more chances on the ball, he looked like you understood why he was getting picked. Slipped out of a lot of tackles. He is quite a big guy, and he'll just get better. So again, another one who justified his selection. Now, if Josh Adams is fit next week, I mean, are you going to be able to bring him straight back in? I'm not sure. And then Blair Murray, again, had a really, really good game. He's so good at slipping up the tackles. For such a small guy, he is really tough to bring down. He was pretty good in defence, and mostly under the high ball he was okay. Not as good as he was last week, but the amount of times he broke tackles and wriggled out and obviously set up that Tom Rogers try, so that was another really good. I'm not sold on him as a fullback, but the more I've seen him there, the better he's looked. And yeah, he just got a really good uncanny knack of breaking tackles and slipping out of them. Even when he gets caught, he sort of wriggles out and stuff, which is a really good trait to have. Then the bench that came on, the second front row struggled, as I mentioned, which was a bit of a shame because the first front row that started really got on top at scrum time, and then the scrum that had come on sort of let up the pressure a little bit, which was a shame. Teddy Williams come on, was busy, made an impact. Thought he might have started over Rowlands, but Rowlands kind of justified the fact that he kept his spot, but more to come from Teddy. And then Aaron Wainwright, not as destructive when he came on last week, but I think we were in it was a difficult one because we were trying to get his hands on the ball today, but they really seemed like they were targeting him. they knew he was going to be the primary ball carrier when there was like the moves when he was running at the line, and they really did target him. But still runs tirelessly, runs really hard. Jared Evans, I don't think Roger Williams came on. I can't remember. Jared Evans, he grew into it. We did lose a bit of shape when he came on, which we kind of expected. But there was moments where he's putting players in space. And to be fair, Ben Thomas looked better when Jared Evans was on, and he was feeling like Ben Thomas was taking a lot more of the responsibilities on. So yeah, it was good to see. And Joe Roberts was pretty good when he came on actually as well, especially defensively. He made a couple of good tackles. Helped with the Blair Murray tackle actually, which was held up, which I forgot about. And it was Blair Murray got underneath him, and then Joe Roberts like dove underneath him. So like I said in my preview, really want to build up some depth in that position because we've struggled. So yeah, I'm really happy with the game. You know, we didn't win, but we didn't get the bonus point either, which we really deserved, I think. But I think the players will leave feeling a lot happier, and I think the fans will feel a lot happier. I would imagine my comments are going to feel a lot happier after this one. And, you know, it justifies all the decisions that got made, whether it was Gatland stepping down or they got rid of him or it was mutual consent. And then the fact that they brought Jockey in as a caretaker, and, you know, the players and the coaches that he's brought in, everyone sort of justified their selection and justified the decisions. And that's really what we need to see now going forward, to continue from the WRU, from the coaches and the players responding to that, because we're in a deep dark hole. 15 losses now is, you know, we shouldn't forget 15 losses in a row. But if they play like that more and more, they're going to get better, and we will see a win. Whether it's in this Six Nations, but pretty soon, if things carry on the way they were. He's had a week with this team. Let's see what he does now when he has a couple of weeks. Hopefully not too good, because I want him to come back to Cardiff. But I'll leave it with you guys, and I will catch you on the next one.